Hi everyone, this is AJ. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another review for the latest episode of Resident Alien. This episode is entitled Alien in New York. So let's talk about it. Yeah, so this is episode 6, again directed by Leah Thompson. Now, I have been waiting for this episode because up until now, this second series has been somewhat questionable in part. Obviously, I'll get into that. So, yeah, this episode, obviously, the primary storyline deals with Harry going to New York because he's got this phone number, which takes him to his pizza parlour, which doesn't give him anything at the beginning. But then he finds a mural on the wall with some alien writing below, which says Goliath. This leads him to start looking for all different murals that have been painted by this Goliath, sort of like a wannabe Banksy, shall we say. Only to find that they actually form a star map with the sun of his planet, and that's where they know they'll find Goliath. So they head off, and it's this art gallery with this art show on, and all the paintings in there are by Goliath, and Harry ends up taking some acid, and you know, all this sort of freaky stuff happens. Along with this, you have got a couple of other storylines going on. The mayor, you know, his wife's gone away. Stuff going on there, and the storyline that I did like that was strong in this one was the one with the sheriff, where he opens up to Liv, Deputy Liv, and shares his past and all this sort of thing. He's kind of forced into this situation. But yeah, so like I said, this episode, I've been waiting for this episode because the show has lost its freshness. It has. There's no denying that. And that's what happens. That's natural for a TV program. You get a first season that just feels fresh and brand new and like nothing you've seen. And then you come into the second season, and that has been lost because you've seen the first series already, and that's passed in your mind. So you know, but this episode, obviously, it takes the character of Harry and it puts him into an environment in which we haven't seen him in. Obviously, this leads to a change in aesthetics for the show. It leads to a change in the way the character acts towards things and meets new people and this sort of thing. So it opens the door to a sense of freshness again, and that's why people will say that this episode is probably one of the strongest of the season thus far, which it is. But don't forget that part of it is your perception of the show, and psychologically what you're thinking and seeing and being shown gives you that sense of a freshness and something new and something good. But nevertheless, it was a very good episode. Obviously, the episode starts off and we get some fantastic stuff with Harry, some fantastic humour within it. You've got the stuff where the dog attacked the octopus, voiced by Nathan Fillion, and the octopus ends up dying. I thought that was all really good and really hilarious, in a sort of sombre, sad way for the octopus. But when Harry's trying to give it resuscitation and blowing down its little hole in the underneath, and then ultimately ends up eating the octopus. This episode does play on a lot of Harry eating and liking to eat human food and this sort of stuff with the pizzas and the hors d'oeuvres and this sort of thing. And the octopus, he was sad, but then he was enjoying it, you know. So that was all fantastic stuff. The bit with the dog where it's attacking the octopus behind Harry's back, again, hilarious. There's a lot of great Harryisms in this episode, especially in the first half, very strong. But yeah, it's, you know, a very strong episode. It had some great character development for stuff like the sheriff and the mayor. You know, I was hoping that this episode would sort of not so much focus on a lot of the other characters and jettison some of the other characters in favour of strength with some of the stronger characters, and that's exactly what the episode gave us, right? Because obviously the mayor's wife is out of the equation, the kids are not in it very much, all this sort of thing. So you're focusing tighter on certain individuals within the series, which opens up the door for character development, and it doesn't feel like an overly stuffed episode. So but I have said that in the past that this program needs to focus on its strengths, on the characters which are strong, and this episode seems to have taken that sort of that element and used it. I don't know if that's just coincidence, because obviously the primary storyline within this is Harry in New York and this sort of thing, but ultimately. Yeah, it's what the episode has done. That's what the episode needs to do. It needs to jettison. I'm not saying it needs to jettison characters. You know, what I need to say is, like, you don't need every character in every single episode, right? You just take a couple of characters and you do stories revolving around them, so you don't feel so mismatched all the way through and this sort of thing. But yeah, so nevertheless, I thought it was a really good episode. I thought that Alan Tudyk, you know, he had a chance to shine more so in this episode with elements of humour and this sort of a thing. The preachiness of the series, although there was a bit of it in it, especially with the little girl when she comes and visits Harry and talks about divorce and this sort of thing. There's a bit of preaching, do you know what I mean? But nevertheless, fun episode, very enjoyable. Can't wait to see next week's and where it goes, because obviously Escape from New York next week is the episode's title. So we'll see what happens. This is AJ. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining me. Please consider hitting the subscribe button and supporting the channel. Leave a comment down below, your thoughts on this episode. There we go. I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.